I'll start by talking about that scene, the long-winded kind of 40-minute scene in the middle of your film with the long battle sequence.
Yeah.
The gunfight. Did you have to overcome anyone that, I mean, because it's such a unique scene, you don't see that in Hollywood very often, to have a scene of that length and that a battle scene of that kind of magnitude. How did you were any obstacles to overcome to get that up?
You know, Marcus Luttrell described that gunfight in detail in his book, and I was able to talk with Marcus at great length about that gunfight, and I was able to have access to the Department of Defense's after-action report, so I saw the area where the fight was, I saw the cliffs they jumped off of, I read the autopsy reports of the soldiers. There's video that you can see online that the Taliban took of the gunfight, and you can see the Taliban having captured the bodies of Mike Murphy and Danny Dietz, and I was able to build a pretty comprehensive picture in my mind of how that fight occurred. It was very challenging to then go from getting it in my mind to putting it on film, and getting a crew of 400 people all on the same page. And what we did was we built a giant model, like a huge big model of the mountain, and we broke the fight into maybe 30 different moments, where they're trying to move one direction, they're trying to move another. We monitored where every soldier got shot, where the cliff falls were, where they were running, and we broke it down and we treated each one of those moments as its own kind of mini movie. So we'd have production meetings about each sequence, and our goal was we knew we didn't have that much time or money, so once we started filming we had to be very squared up. So we prepped it as hard as we could. We spent about 3 months preparing very, very carefully for every moment of that fight. And my thought was if we could really pay attention to detail, like Marcus talked about it in the book, that gunfight would be a very unique experience for the audience.
And was there any resistance from the studio at all to have a scene of that length? Or?
No, none. I mean, the film was financed independently, so the producers weren't the studio, but no, there was no pressure from the studio. I put pressure on myself. I wasn't sure how much an audience could take, and if it would become too violent, an audience would just turn off. People would get up and leave, whether people would become so desensitized at a certain point they just get bored. I wasn't sure. The gunfight in real life lasted 3.5 hours. Ours lasts about almost an hour. I wanted to see how much an audience could take. And the first time we test screened the film, I was prepared to have an audience say, this is too long, this is boring, this is too violent, and make changes based on that. But from the very first screening, it was obvious that the audience was willing to stay with that gunfight.
And talking of pressure, did you feel a pressure to do justice to the people that sadly didn't make it out of this story alive? Because I imagine that their families and obviously the likes of Marcus would have been quite closely associated to this project.
Yes, this film there was more pressure certainly more pressure than I had ever experienced before. When I did Friday Night Lights, that was about real people, and there was a little pressure and some sensitivity by some of the real people that we portrayed in that film. Nothing like Lone Survivor, where you have 19 men that were killed. Each one of those men have moms and dads, and many were married, brothers and sisters, some have children. This group of family members were extremely focused and aware of what really happened, and they were watching me in this film with a very harsh and critical eye. I knew if we got it wrong, these mothers would not be shy at all. I mean, think of your own mother, how she would feel, and I have a son, I think how I would feel. So there was pressure to make sure the families felt that we worked hard and got it right. And then you also have the Navy SEAL community, and that's a very opinionated, very intense, not shy group at all. And I knew that if they felt that we had gotten it wrong or somehow Hollywoodized up, the experience of the death of their brothers, that they would be very clear to tell me. So, we all felt a little extra pressure when we were making this film.
So following on from this project, have you found almost a newfound kind of appreciation for Navy SEALs and what they have to go through?
It's not just Navy SEALs. I mean, when I read Marcus's book, my appreciation for anyone, man or woman, who's willing to serve for their country and willing to put their lives on the line for a cause that they believe in, I've always had respect for that. My respect continues to grow to anyone that's willing to sacrifice, to put themselves between the people that they love and evil, anyone that's willing to stand up and put themselves in between that fight and willingly take that on, I have an inherent respect for.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. Much
Pleasure.
appreciated.
Thank you.